Welcome. This is That Shakespeare Life. I'm Cassidy Cash, and this week we're exploring weapons, warfare, and stage effects by asking, did Shakespeare use guns? Many people that I talk to about firearms in Shakespeare's England are really surprised to know that guns existed for Shakespeare's lifetime. Now, of course, England had the long arquebuses that you think about I don't know if you've seen the animated film Pocahontas, but that's where my brain goes when the colonists are shooting these long type guns where there's lots of smoke and flint going off when they fire. Of course, those existed. But what's surprising is that England had handguns for Shakespeare's lifetime, as well as pistols and calivers. These were used in warfare, hunting, and even in the theater for sound effects. Shakespeare references guns multiple times in his plays, including Henry IV, Henry V, and Macbeth. And I'll go ahead and mention that it's also in Romeo and Juliet. And I love that because Baz Luhrmann uses handguns prolifically in his adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, which I thought it strikes people as kind of wild and wacky because that's the style he's going for in that film. But it's interesting that it was actually historically accurate for them to have guns. So there you go. Take that for what you will. To learn more about the actual guns from the 16th century, how they worked and how common they were, as well as how Shakespeare's audience would have interacted with them, how familiar would they have been, and would they have seen them on stage? To explore some of these questions, I sat down with scholar Grace Tiffany. She researches the presence of firearms in early modern England, and here's some things she shared.
Well, it was the age of the start of guns that you could carry by hand, guns that we would call firearms, although they didn't use that word yet, and also the start of the use of a hand-toted gun on the battlefield. But guns themselves had been around for a long time, and I'm talking about big guns, cannons, guns, large-scale guns, or large guns, I should say, used in battle, had been used in battle since the 13th century. So that was not a new thing in Shakespeare's time. And in Shakespeare and in the work of his contemporaries, you can see all kinds of references to these larger guns that we wouldn't necessarily recognize as meaning cannons. But words like culverins and serpentines and demi-cannons, which is a small cannon, different size cannons, mounted on walls. Some of them were beginning to be mounted on ships. These were not all that new. But what was new was that they were beginning to manufacture them, gun manufacturers, in sizes that you actually could carry.
If you'd like to hear our full conversation with Grace all about the guns and ammunition from Shakespeare's lifetime, we talk about a whole lot more history on this topic in our podcast episode. You can listen to the entire conversation right now at CassidyCash.com/episode 105, and I'll place a clickable link for that podcast below this video. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Cassidy Cash, and I hope you learned something new about the Bard. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.